it brings. As we embark on this virtual journey of knowledge exchange, let us foster a spirit of collaboration, curiosity, and adaptability. Your presence and participation make this conference a vibrant hub for professional growth and shared wisdom. Thank you for being a part of this transformative experience. May our discussions inspire new perspective and empower each one of us to navigate the exciting terrain of ELT challenges in the era of AI. Our first speaker is going to be at 4 o'clock Cairo time. Till then, I would like to tell you a little bit about Ertica Academy. I would like to tell you about the courses in Ertica. So if you can join us, it's going to be really a very good chance for both of us. Master the art of teaching English to non-native speakers through our comprehensive TEFL course, designed to equip you with the latest methodologies and practical strategies. Ertica Academy is your gateway to professional growth and success. Another course is Pre-Delta Module 1. Prepare yourself for success in Delta Diploma in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. With our Pre-Delta Module 1, crucial step towards advanced teaching qualifications. We have also in Ertica Academy, Digital Teacher. Embrace the digital era and enhance your teaching prowess with our Digital Teachers course, empowering you with the skills to navigate virtual classrooms effectively. A conversation course is waiting for you also in Ertica Academy. Hone your conversational teaching skills to create engaging and dynamic language learning environments. Our conversation course is tailored to help you excel in facilitating meaningful dialogue. Phonics and phonology. Dive into the interaction of language sounds and structures with our phonics phonology courses. Ensure a solid foundation for language learning. Train the Trainers is another course in Ertica Academy. Become a mentor and leader in the field of education through our Train the Trainer course. Acquire the tools to inspire and guide future educators. Accreditations. At Ertica Academy, we believe in recognizing and celebrating your achievement. Receive accreditations for completing our courses, empowering you to offer your own accredited courses and provide learners with valuable, recognized certificates. Ready to take the next step in your teaching career? Join Ertica Academy and unlock a world of possibilities. Enroll now and let your teaching journey flourish. Please, I would like to draw your attention for the questions you would like to ask is in the chat box as well. Thank you. Our first speaker is going to be ready in less than...
Hello everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Mariam. Thank you, Dr. Mariam.
Thank you, Ms. Samar. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Fiona is the first speaker, and she is going to join us in less than 10 minutes, 5 minutes, not more. And I just want to thank people and welcome them to our conference, Challenges of ELT in the Era of AI. And today we are going to talk about many topics related to the people and the generations who are living in our era now. And in simple terms, we are facing both opportunities and challenges in this time. And we are going to come together with some solutions in them in some of the sessions. So let's discuss these practical solutions for the problems like maintaining good data or maybe making good decisions while we are working in their era. And Mrs. Fiona, she has just sent me that she is going to join us in few moments. Thank you for your attendance. And okay, Miss Dr. Marim, you can complete. Go ahead. If you can, we can just wait for 5 minutes until Fiona joins us, and then we can start introducing her. So please be patient while she is joining us. Okay?
Hi, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Can you see me?
Yeah, clearly.
Sorry, I don't know. I think my mic was disabled or something.
It's okay, no problem.
So, are we here? Everyone's here now.
Yeah, if you can see, if you wanna please raise your hand or give us a react. Oh wow.
Oh,
We can see you. Yes,
Great.
everything is okay.
Brilliant, thank you. This is a new platform for me to use, so thank you for your patience.
No problem, we can handle it.
Okay. I'm just going to prepare my slides be with you in 1 minute.
No problem, take your time.
Okay, are we ready to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So, Fiona, because Dr. Mariam is not here, could you please introduce yourself? I'm sorry for this. We have to do this for you, but it's just because she is out now. So please do it. Thank
No
you.
problem, no problem. Well, first of all, thank you to everyone who's here and joining me. This is such a pleasure to be here. I'm just going to share my screen and I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and what we're going to do. So let's see. Okay, just checking you can see my screen okay? Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
You can, okay.
Please react,
perfect.
people, please react with us.
Yeah, Samara, you can keep me right with if there's any questions or comments in the chat as well. I can't really see that, but okay. So
okay, no problem.
that's me, Fiona Hunter, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Okay, beyond vocabulary, helping kids acquire bigger language. And so this is who I am. So I'm Fiona Hunter, and I specialise in teaching young and very young learners. I run the Kids Club English website and a teacher membership, and so on there I self-publish resources for very young learners and young learners, mainly crafts and games, and a lot of them are related to stories and storytelling. And I also run a teacher membership and community where I offer support for teachers that are interested in teaching similar things. So today, this is the objective really, is I want to share some simple and practical ways that you can help kids acquire more language, right? So thinking about going beyond that, basic vocabulary level and helping them acquire larger phrases and structures. And I'm going to give you some very short practical things through 5 of my favorite tools I use in my classes. So that's songs, stories, games, craft and drama. I hope we've got time for the drama one. We'll see how we go. So first of all, just to kind of clarify where I'm coming from with all this, and when I think about language learning objectives, I think about them, I divide them into 2 groups really. So first of all, language to learn, and so with that, I'm thinking about language we put an explicit focus on. So where there needs to be, you're creating a need for them to understand that language or produce that language in order to complete the task. So with that, you might be thinking about those vocabulary sets or that particular grammar item that you're trying to teach. But I'm also thinking about language to acquire. So with this language, I'm thinking of it more with an implicit focus. So this is really where I'm thinking about being very intentional about the language that you're using in your teacher talk, and that you're using while in all your procedures. So your teacher talk, while you're conducting crafts, the language you use in songs, the language you're using in games. So this might be the language that your learners might not be producing yet, but you're trying to give them enough exposure and repetition of that language, because if they can't hear it, then they've got no chance of acquiring it. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking about it in these two ways. You'll know, like in your own classes, that kids learn at different stages. So there might be some children in your class who are ready to acquire that big chunky phrase, and there'll be other children who are not. But what I'm sort of arguing for is that we need to be very careful that we're not restricting the language that we're teaching to only those vocabulary items or only that particular grammar structure. So I'm saying we should kind of make it available. Okay, so first of all, let's look at what I mean with some examples from songs. So songs are good because they're catchy. They kind of create that earworm. They're memorable, and the language is nicely embedded in them as well, you know. But that's not always the language that you want to focus on. You might find a really nice song, but it's not really what you're wanting to focus on, the bigger chunks. And sometimes the language in songs is a little bit too difficult. So I say adapt the songs, okay? I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment so you can kind of see what I mean. I'll give you an example. So yeah, I'm thinking about songs that you already know. So like songs that are, I think of almost everyone knows Frere Jacques. Okay. Think about how you can just change that song to get more of the language that you want to focus on in there. So one way I do this, very basic for your very young learners, maybe you're trying to teach colours, but it would be nice if they could also learn, you know, what's your favourite colour? My favourite colour is. So you could start with that. Red and yellow, blue and green. What's your favourite colour? Okay, but you can use this with any vocabulary set. So for example, I've got some food vocabulary here. And what I like to do when I first introduce the song is I start like a clapping movement. So, you know, you can't really see my legs here, but I'd be clapping my head, slapping my thighs, clapping up here and back here. Okay, up. So, and I would just be doing that and getting them to follow along with me. So once they've got this movement, then I would introduce the vocabulary items. So we are at the vocabulary item here, stage here. So say I put down carrots, we've got chocolate, what's that, yogurt, pancakes. Okay, so it would go like this. So we just go carrots, pancakes, chocolate, yogurt. Chocolate, yogurt. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food? I like carrots. I like carrots. And then you would repeat that. But the next time you nominate one of the children and they would be like, I like chocolate. I like chocolate. So you could do that a few times, but then of course you can swap out other vocabulary items. And the thing is that you can just use that for any type of language with personal questions that you're using. You could use it with transport, you know, by car on foot, by car on foot, by bus by train, by bus, by train. How do you go to school? How do you go to school? I go to school on foot. I go to school by car, you know. So that's one. Another song that's quite easy to adapt, which is nice because it's got a lot of repetition between the lines, is based on Jimmy Crack Corn. So it's the song Jimmy Crack Corn. So imagine I'd told a story and I wanted to give them more repetition, more exposure to the language in that story. This is, well, it's a craft I'll show you later, but the enormous turnip story. So maybe when I'm teaching that story, I'm focusing on people vocabulary because there's boy, man, you know, girl, mouse, cat. Okay, people and pets. But you know, that might be the vocabulary items. But in that story, there's also things like come and help. You know, the man sees a woman, pull the turnip. So let's just put that into a song. So with that Jimmy Crack Corn song, it could be the man sees a woman, come and help. The man sees a woman, come and help. The man sees a woman, come and help. Pull the turnip, pull, you know. And I think that you can get lots of different types of language just into normal songs. So that's one way I try to get in some more exposure to bigger language. We'll just go back to the slides. Okay. So that was the example, Fred or Jacka, could have red and yellow, what's your favourite colour? Socks and trousers, what are you wearing? By bus on foot, how do you get to school? And the other one I mentioned there was Jimmy Crack Corn. Okay, so let's think about stories now. So stories are great. There's lots of kind of passive learning where it's not really passive, but it kind of is, but we've got this implicit language focus. So how you're giving exposure to kids to useful bigger language through stories. And you can also include interactive telling, so identifying opportunities for learners to be involved. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples now. Sorry, while I negotiate this screen. Okay, right, so a couple of stories I like to use. One of them is this one, Monkey Puzzle. So it's basically, if you don't know it, Monkey Puzzles by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler, and it's a story of this monkey who's lost his mum, and there's a butterfly that comes along and helps the monkey find his mum. But the butterfly keeps taking him to different animals, and it's not the monkey's mum, okay? Now this book's great, but the language in it is quite complex for young learners. So I'm thinking about the language that I want to give them exposure and repetition of. So I think about that, and I'm very intentional about that when I tell this story. So for example, give you, let's see. So like that's the first animal. It's a very big book, sorry. The first animal that the butterfly takes him to is this elephant. Now it's got very complex text here. It can be quite complex, but it can be, you just think about it. So I tell it this way. So, is this your mum? No, 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 that's not my mum. That's an elephant. I know, come with me, okay? And on every page, every animal, we're doing that. Is this your mum? No, 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 that's not my mum. That's a snake. Oh, I know, come with me, okay? So the kids are hearing that language over and over and over again. And once you tell the story, you know, they've heard it once, you get them to join in again. Of course, actually, I've missed out a bit because that's the most basic way I could tell it. But say I was wanting to help expose the children to structures like have got or can. to describe vocabulary. Describe animals or people. So this would be, no, no, that's not my mum, that's a snake. My mum hasn't got a tail. Well, actually she does. That's not what I say at all. My mum has got legs. Or let's take another example. Here's the parrot. Okay, is this your mum? No, no, that's not my mum. That's a parrot. My mum can't fly. My mum hasn't got wings. My mum can jump. My mum has got legs. Okay, so you get the idea that when you're telling a story like that, you're thinking about this bigger chunks of language that you want to make sure that you're
Hello, Fiona. Hello, Fiona. Is there a problem in your side?
Hi, can you hear me again now? I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm not sure what happened there. I just got a notification.
We missed you for a moment.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I just got a notification on my screen saying that my microphone was disabled and my camera was disabled. Someone isn't enjoying this. Sorry.
No, it's a problem. I don't know what happened.
Well, I'm not sure where I got to that, but I was talking about Monkey Puzzle and just about the importance of just being intentional with what language you want to give the kids exposure to, because the more exposure they get and repetition, the more likely they are to acquire it. And this is another one that I like telling. So Go Away, Big Green Monster. So this is a story that I don't really have to change a lot of the words. There are a lot of books out there where I don't think you need to adapt the words. But there are still opportunities for you to get more language in there. So in this one, basically, if you don't know it, the monster slowly gets built up. So big green monster has got 2 yellow eyes. Big green monster has got a long bluish green nose. Big green monster has got a big red mouth and 4 white teeth. But if I'm wanting to give the kids more exposure to this, I don't need to I can be reviewing everything that's gone before, can't I? So on this page, for example, not just the blue-green nose, but Big Green Monster has got 2 yellow eyes and a long blue nose. Woo, I'm scared, right? This is the other thing where you get the kids to kind of be more involved with the telling, and that's where you get a little bit theatrical as well. So as you're turning the page, oh my goodness. Oh, Big Green Monster has got 2 yellow eyes, a long blue-green nose, and a big red mouth and 1, 2, 3, 4 white teeth. Ah, I'm scared. Are you scared? And the kids, you know, they're going like, I'm scared, or I'm not scared. You know, most of them say I'm not scared, you know, but by creating opportunities for them to kind of get involved and join in with phrases, as well as giving them the extra exposure. And, you know, as the book goes on, then the monster disappears. So it's, you know, go away, 2 little ears. So we get them to say, like, go away, ears. And we make a big gesture like we're throwing them out the door, or throwing them in the bin, whatever you want to do. So go away. So yeah, thinking about that, how you can create opportunities for interaction and more intentional exposure. Okay, so moving on to, oh, that's not what I want to do. I want to share this screen. Okay, right. So that's what we've looked at, monkey puzzle, some examples of language you can use there, and go away big green monster. And that's the other thing I didn't mention with this one. Telling stories, it's naturally, you know, you're giving them natural exposure to these type of structures, adjective plus noun. So it's, you know, a blue nose, not a nose blue, that kind of thing. Okay, tell the story multiple times. That's the other thing that I talk about a lot with using stories in the classroom. That doesn't mean you tell it in exactly the same way. You don't, but you look for ways to retell the story by changing the dynamic or changing the medium. So maybe you'll read the story with the book. Maybe the first time they're mainly listening and I'm just enjoying it. Maybe the next time I'm encouraging them, I'm using the book again, but I'm encouraging them to be more involved. Maybe I'm telling the story not from the book at all, but from a PowerPoint presentation, or maybe I'm using a video, a storytelling video, and pausing the video at points for each pages, or maybe I'm retelling the story with flashcards of the key vocabulary. We'll see a slide of that in the games part soon. Or I'm integrating retelling the story with a craft activity, so that they're not just hearing the story one time. They don't have much chance to acquire the language if they only hear it once. So looking for ways that you can kind of change the dynamic and mix it up so they hear it several times, but in engaging ways. Okay, and then with games, we can increase, again, exposure, increase exposure to the language, bigger language beyond just single vocabulary items. We can increase interaction opportunities, so they're actually getting more opportunity to use the language and produce the language. And we can look at ways and particular games that encourage them to use bigger language. Okay, so splat games, these are many different names, but it's all the same thing. Basically, listen and point. Okay, so it could be around the room like that. So those are images with flashcards from We're Going on a Bear Hunt. So you might have the flashcards around the room, and the children have to understand and go to the correct flashcard or point to the correct flashcard. Board slam is another type of activity. It could be done like a team race if you wanted to, or just individuals, where you've got either flashcards on the board or a PowerPoint, or PowerPoint's probably quite old-fashioned, I don't know, but you know, whatever you interactive software you might have, where they have to listen, go to the picture. It could be on the floor like that as well, which I quite like. With young learners, you might all be in a circle and just have flashcards around in the circle and play the games this way. But basically, they're having to listen and respond. So what I'm saying really is that it's about being kind of more intentional. So you're not just going green, and hoping, and then they're touching the green elephant. You know, it's trying to, so if we were trying to, again, give them exposure to language from that monkey puzzle book, maybe looking at that board slam in the middle there, I wouldn't just be saying, you know, it's an elephant or elephant. I would be saying, you know, like, no, 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 that's not my mum, that's an elephant. And then they would go to the elephant. Or if I'm working on the descriptive language, it might be, you know, it can't fly, it can jump, it's green. And then they go and they touch the frog. Okay, so just looking for opportunities for them to hear that. So that's the kind of the exposure part. And then there's these ones can also be used for exposure. So fishing, this is one that they like. What I have are, I just make my own, but you can buy like little toy fishing rods that have magnets on the bottom. I've just made my own. So they're like craft sticks, lollipop sticks, and I put string and a magnet. And then with the flashcards I've maybe been using in other things, I just put a paper clip on them, and then you can go fishing. So again, the same, giving them exposure to the language you want them to hear, and then they fish for that flashcard. And they can play that whole class or in small groups. Bingo is another one that's good for exposure. Again, just thinking, don't just say penguin, crocodile, use bigger language to give them a chance to acquire it. Categorizing tasks are nice as well for games. So with this one, I was describing the monsters. So I'll say, like, you know, these monsters have got a blue mouth, and then they'll find all the monsters with the blue mouth and put them together. These monsters haven't got teeth, and they'll find the monsters that haven't got teeth and they'll put them together. After they've done that a few times, then I would let them try to kind of create their own kind of categories. And then when you're monitoring and going around and you're using your teacher talk to comment on what they've got or asking them, and it's a good opportunity for you to see which children are ready to kind of produce that language and which children aren't quite there yet. You know, so you would ask them like, oh, look at those monsters, oh wow, you know, tell me about those monsters, and you know, or if they're not, then you're just making commentary language. So like, oh yes, oh, they haven't got teeth, or you know, but you're thinking about what language you're using to give them exposure. Okay, so these are ones that we mentioned there. And the interaction part. So all of the things that we've seen before, I've talked about it from a point of view of, like, you know, you, the teacher, giving instructions. But as soon as they, you know, if they've played them, you know, a couple of times, they're quite simple. And if they're at the age or at the level where they're able to start producing that language, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can be, you know, prompting and supporting them, get them to lead the games, get them to play being teacher in a whole class situation. Even better, if they're ready, they can move and do all those activities in either pairs or groups. I've got rock, paper, scissors as an example there. I'll demonstrate that in a moment if you don't know it. And this is another example game for bigger language called hippopotamus. Okay, so if I just stop sharing there, rock, paper, scissors, if you don't know it. Rock, paper, scissors. So they play in pairs. I usually do it so it's rock, paper, scissors. It's difficult doing it with two hands. 1, 2, 3. You know, so they would choose what they're going to do. Rock, paper, scissors. In this case, rock beats scissors, paper beats rock. What's the other one? I can't remember. Okay, but yeah, rock beats paper. No, paper beats rock. rock beats scissors, and okay, sorry, mine's gone blank. But the point is that that's quite that's a game that a lot of children are familiar with, more than me, obviously, and that's and it's really controlled, and that's a really great way to get them to be practicing language in pairs. And really, it can be any language you want. The important thing is to sort of demonstrate the language that you want them to play, and practice. I've lost my vocabulary cards, but what did I do with them? I don't know. So say they had those food cards I had earlier, I've misplaced. They do rock, paper, scissors. Maybe I want them to be practicing asking questions. What's your favorite food? Person who wins takes that and then asks, what's your favorite food? That's much more interesting to them than if you're just asking them to ask and answer questions. Okay, so first they play this game. The person who wins asks the question, and then they keep the card, and at the end of the game they see how many cards they've managed to win. But it's not based on how well they spoke the language. They could do anything after they win that. So maybe they win that food card and then they have to do something else. Maybe they have to go and collect something else that's related to that food. Maybe they're collecting a picture to use in a craft afterwards. Okay, hippopotamus, I'll just describe what that is. So if maybe you're working with some learners with like a bit of a higher level of English, I'm not talking about really high, but you are working on longer structures and sentences, and this is a really great game to help them internalize those structures, get familiar with them, without necessarily making it an exercise really focused. So it's called hippopotamus. It's a bit of a silly name. You'd get them all standing in a circle. You'd decide which sentence, what sentence you want to focus on. As an example, let's choose any sentence of, we're all at the conference today. Okay, so I would say that we are all at the conference today. The first person on my right would say, we, next one, are, next one, all at the conference today. Okay, so they've said one word each. The next person repeats the whole sentence. We are all at the conference today. The next person says hippopotamus, and the person after that is eliminated and sits down. So it's a bit random, who sits down. And hippopotamus has no reason at all, for why it's called that name. Could be anything, but so again, it's something else. From that monkey puzzle book. My mum can't fly, but she can jump. 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 Hippopotamus, next person is eliminated and sits down. And of course, you can get the children involved by the person who's eliminated, give them the opportunity to come up with the next sentence, or you tell them the next sentence. So we've played that with lots of things, like even at the beginning of class, if you've asked, what did you do that weekend, or tell me about something, think about something that made you smile that day. They could all think of their own sentences. Maybe it's that they've got mistakes, but then you can correct them, and then you can play hippopotamus, and you're consolidating that kind of bigger language there. Okay. Are there any questions at all at this point, just before I move on? Okay. Go back to my screen share. Oh, not this one again. Right. So here we go. Crafts. So I think these are really underrated as vehicles for language use, but there are lots of opportunities to get exposure and practice of language before, during, and after the craft. And they offer a really welcome change of dynamics, I find, in classes. They really help keep kids engaged. And I think they're a useful tool for bringing the practice outside the classroom, because they're bringing these crafts home and they can use them with their families, play games with them, retell stories with them. So we're just going to look at some examples here. So these are ones where they have to listen or speak to complete the craft. Okay, so very simply, find and stick scenes. So you'd cut up all those animals. This is for that monkey puzzle story I showed you. So again, those would be cut up and in an area of the room, all jumbled up together. And then you might be retelling the story, or you might be using descriptive language, but you would say, no, well, you could get the kids to say, is this your mum? And then you would say, no, that's not my mum, that's a snake. And then they all go off and they're looking around with snake, where's the snake, find the snake, and they come and they stick it back on a bit of paper, right? So very, very simple, but like they're getting exposure and practice there. Marionettes, puppets, okay, they could be asking for the pieces, like, can I have a leg, please? Can I have arms, please? Can I have a tail, please? And then, of course, they can use that puppet in story retelling and retell the story. Mini books, again, there are various different options for these type of mini books, but what I'm kind of getting at is try to create some kind of obstacle where they're either having to listen to bigger language in order to collect the parts they need to complete their craft, or create the obstacle where they have to ask you or another child for that piece to collect their craft. One thing I do quite often is, especially with children who are about 7 or 8 and up, I'd give each child, they would have a set of, I don't know, in this case, say it was frogs, another person would have, the bats, another person has the parrots, and then the children are having to ask each other, either, can I have a parrot, please, or can I have the elephant, please, or they're having to say a phrase from the story, whatever it is that we're working on. In this case, they could say, either describe the animal, so it's got 4 legs and a long trunk, in order to be able to collect the elephant. But you kind of create these obstacles. Similarly, some other ones, fortune tellers, other types of crafts you can play, make and play, and again, you can create the obstacles with that. These ones are flip books, so basically they've got different sections, so you can do, again, as we mentioned before, like kind of find and stick type activity where they're collecting pieces to stick them in, or they're having to complete words on them as well, but they put it together. That's one in the bottom with clothes, vocabulary. And again, you can play a lot of things with this afterwards. I'll mention that in a minute. And those vocabulary and sequencing fans as well. So again, they can be collecting pieces, putting them together. But the good thing about all these type of crafts is, they're able to do something with them afterwards. So not only are they getting to listen or use the language while they make them, they're also getting to use them afterwards, and then they can take them home to their families. Okay, I think, let's double check here. Yeah, I'm going to just stop sharing here. I can't. Now I've lost my mouse, so there it is. Okay, so, well, there's a fortune teller. I think this is from like Walking Through the Jungle chant. But yeah, what can they do with them afterwards, apart from just going, Blue. Blue. 3. Parrot, you know, going beyond that. Of course, they can say things. You can teach them to be saying things like, "Can I have green, please? Can I have?" You can have that, but you can also integrate some kind of phonological awareness activities with something like this. So if that was from the walking through the jungle chant, they might have to do it like, walking through the jungle. What do you see? I see number 6. I see a crocodile looking at me. Okay. So it's all about how you want them to use it. Another craft I've got there is that I showed you this earlier, didn't I? The enormous turnip. So again, this is another story retelling craft. In this case, they did a color dictation first. So I retold the story, but out of order, and they had this bottom piece, and then they colored that stage of the story. What's great about kind of story retelling crafts like this, like the fans story sliders, that it's something very tangible, so that after they've made it, they're more interested in telling the story again because they've got something to tell it with. You know, you can support them telling it if they need the support. So because they're moving it around themselves, they're following the story with you and they're telling it, and you're teaching them how to tell it to their families at home. Okay, so they're getting, again, more opportunities to use that language and phrases. And like with the enormous turnip, it depends on the level of your learners. They might just be saying, you know, the man sees a woman, come and help. Or you might be also introducing, oh, the turnip doesn't move. Or it depends on how much you think that they're capable of. They can also play games. So for example, this story, this is one I've been making recently. This is for any of you know the Pete the Cat series. This is I Love My White Shoes. So you could tell that story, this story in particular, and just focus on colours, and he steps in different things and changes the colour of his shoes. So he steps in strawberries, it turns his shoes red. He steps in blueberries, turns his shoes blue. And through the song, through the story, he sings this song. So I love my white shoes, I love my white shoes, or I love my red shoes. But you know, you can, instead of just focusing on those individual items, try to get them to be acquiring the language of the whole thing, you know. So as they're making this, and then as they're playing with it afterwards, and they can play games, so they can choose one in secret and then work with a partner, and they have to kind of guess which part they've got. You know, I love my blue shoes. No, it isn't. I love my red shoes. No, it isn't. He steps in mud. No, it isn't. He steps in blueberries. Yes, it is. Okay. So yeah, crafts can be useful as props for a lot of things, I think. Okay, let's move on to drama. Where are we going here? Oh, sorry, I'm not quite moving on to drama. So much to say about crafts, but I did have, oh no, I do. Do I have them in the drama part? I do, because the crafts can come into this as well. So listen and act. I won't speak a lot about this, but I'm sure you're familiar with, you know, musical statues, you know, miming activities. While I'm like a broken record, I would just say the same thing. It's just, you know, making sure that in your teacher talk or in the language you're getting them to use when they're playing teacher, you know, make it that bigger language. Say and act as well, and puppet play and performance. So I'm just going to look at how you can integrate this into games and crafts. So with that round the room slam game we saw earlier, This is from We're Going on a Bear Hunt. So retell the story. So it's not just I can see grass or grass, and then they go to grass. You're saying, you know, the whole story. You're acting it out. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Oh no, it's grass. And they all go to grass. Long wavy grass. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We've got to go through it. Okay. And swishy swashy, swishy swashy. So you can reenact a lot of stories just simply with having flashcards around the room. That's a drama activity. With board games. So you might not associate those with drama, but why not? I was playing, well, that's another one from Monkey Puzzle. Actually, just this week, I was using another board game alongside another story that I use, and every time they landed on, it was another animal in this case. They were enacting a dialogue that happens in the story. So one child would land on the animal. This is a story called The Smartest Giant in Town. The giant helps lots of animals by giving them items of clothing to help them with a problem that they have. So the person would land on the animal, they would nominate a giant out of the group, and the giant would say, you know, what's the matter? And the animal would say whatever the problem was from the story. So like, you know, I haven't got a house. Giant say, don't worry, here is my, and they would give or pretend to give the animal that item of clothing. You know, you can insert dialogues, it's what I'm saying, and from little dramas into playing board games as well. Why not? Using them in props in role play. So you'll see those are just little shopping baskets, very simple crafts. You'll see there's scaffolding on them, so they've already completed a dialogue for a shopping role play, where, you know, they're saying with this one, like, you know, I'd like football. Then they had language like, it looks great, or it's too small. And, you know, then they would say like, I think I'll buy it, or I don't think I'll buy it. And so they'd already practiced this language. Then they had this on the craft itself. And then they moved into the drama activity. So it's kind of scaffolded stages to help prepare them for the drama. Then during the drama itself, rather than it just being, you know, let's pretend, they had something tangible. So they would go with their little bag, they would have the interaction, then they would buy these little pictures of items that they bought, and they would stick them into their craft, and then at the end they could compare everything that they bought, you know. So you can integrate it into different craft type activities, and then you've got these kind of small world play type things. So that's where you're acting out a story with little pieces. Of course, if you've got realia, like real toys and things, then that's brilliant. I don't have a lot of that because I don't have a lot of space to store things, but I do use a lot of paper-based stuff. That's the 3 Billy Goats Gruff story. So they, you know, they created their little stick puppets and reenacted the story that way. The 3 Little Pigs story there as well. And then, of course, puppets and masks. You can get them to reenact and being dramatic that way too. So again, just kind of thinking about how you can take this sort of bigger language and then put it into something bigger, or let them play with it. So it's bigger. Of course, if their language level is very, very low, you could be doing some of the retelling, giving them the exposure, and they're acting out. If they've got a higher level, you can kind of see what they can do, you know, just you know, let them, they make the thing and then let them play. and notice where the language gaps are. It's very useful as well. Okay, so finally, I haven't talked very much about AI, but I've got a couple of examples. One is going right back to the beginning where we talked about the adapting songs and using songs to fit in any of that kind of bigger language you want to help your kids with. I have tried using ChatGPT for that, and it wasn't bad, you know. So if you think about a song that you know, especially songs that you know that your children know, that they're familiar with, the melody, because then they're not having to learn a melody and the words. So choose a song that they know and put it into ChatGPT. So, you know, like create a song using this melody and include this language, this language, this language, and see what it comes up with, because it's not too bad sometimes. It's not always, it's always a bit hit or miss, but you know, I found it useful for that. And this is something else I tried. I wonder what is this thing that's on screen right now? This is it's a small theatre, like just a cardboard theatre, literally a couple of bits of cardboard with a hole cut in the middle. With one group of learners that I'd been working with, we'd combined a lot of the different tools I've already mentioned. We had, they'd learned 4 songs, like extracts from 4 songs for Halloween. They'd made peg puppets of different characters. And we'd worked with Halloween jokes, and we'd played different games to learn these Halloween jokes. Okay, I got them to choose their 2 favorite jokes, and then I asked ChatGPT to write a very short play script, including these characters, the characters of the peg puppets they'd made, extracts from the 4 songs that we'd used, and including those 2 jokes, you know, and I said the 2 jokes, and it came up with something that wasn't bad at all, and the kids were really keen to do a good job at this. And I think part of it was the element of performance, you know, and that they were going to make a video. That was a real kind of motivator. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of this, and then we will stop for questions. I'm not sure if I can share sound. I need to check I can share sound okay. Okay, I think, right. Let's try.
I see a pumpkin patch. Oh, what a sight. Halloween here is a favorite night. Boo! Ah, did I scare you, Mr. Pumpkin? Oh, yeah, sure did. But no need to be afraid. It's Halloween fun. This is Halloween, this is Halloween. Pumpkin scream in the dead of night. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. I
Oh, I'm going to stop there.
Oh, what a sight. Halloween here.
Okay. Oh. Sorry. 1 second. Oh, going to the wrong bit here. Okay. I think that's all I've got to kind of share just now. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have been able to hear me and see me, and sorry for the technical issues. But if you've got any questions or thoughts or comments, then yeah, let's discuss them. And if you want to keep in touch, you can find me in all of those places that you can see on your screen right now. And thank you so much for listening and for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Miss Fiona Hunter. Thank you for making the effort to join our conference despite being on the move. Your commitment participating even while traveling is greatly appreciated. Looking forward to see you, and thank you so much for your valuable contribution.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I would like to make people remembering who is Miss Fiona Hunter, a teacher, trainer, and the creator of the Kids Club English website, a visionary educator who crafts digital wonderlands for young minds through the artistry of website creation, teaching language through stories, songs, and puppets. She brings joy, learning, and creativity into the virtual realm, fostering a world where education and imagination intertwine seamlessly. With every click, Mrs. Hunter is cultivating the future of education, one delightful website at a time. Thank you so much for the attractive title, Beyond Vocabulary, Helping Kids Acquire Bigger Language. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. You're too kind. And yeah, I look forward to enjoying the rest of your wonderful conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering all the questions. And if any of the participant, he or she has any other questions, please write the questions in Q&A, and we are gonna send them to Mrs. Fiona. Thank you so much, and have a good time traveling.
Thank you.